Yahya, and today I'll be presenting my presentation on disruptors. So, disruptor, by dictionary definition, is a person or a thing that prevents something, especially a system, process, event, from continuing as usual or as expected. In society, we see a lot of disruptors like activists and protesters and things like this that are very common right now. Some famous disruptors throughout time include Martin Luther King, who was a civil rights leader and was the head of the civil rights movement in the 1960s. Rosa Parks was also a civil rights leader. She sparked the Montgomery bus boycott by sitting at the front of the bus, despite being forced to sit in the back. And Mahatma Gandhi, who protested peacefully against the British rule in India. So, Wael Ghonim. Wael Ghonim is an Egyptian. He was born in Cairo in 1980. He studied in several universities like Cairo University, AUC, and Harvard. He founded several social media platforms and worked in Google. And he was one of the main people who sparked the 2011 Egyptian revolution. So, Wael Ghonim sparked the revolution by creating the Facebook page Wael Khaled Said, which protested against the killing of Khaled Said by police, and he went on several interviews and talk shows in the first couple of days of the revolution, and was strongly opposed to the Egyptian rule and the Egyptian government and police. He used the page to promote the protests and say the time and the place where the protests would begin. He would also go to the protests and speak. And after a couple of days of protesting, he was detained by the Egyptian government for 11 days, and no one knew where to find him for 11 days, until finally he was released. During those 11 days, he was interrogated very, very roughly about his involvement with the revolution and how it would happen. The Egyptian revolution, which Wael Ghonim started, was started on January 25th of 2011, and after around 2 weeks of protesting, Hosni Mubarak, the Egyptian president, stepped down from rule, and a new President Morsi, was sworn in on June 30th of 2011. And then Morsi appointed the now president Abdel Fattah Sisi as his defense minister. And then around 2013, there were several anti-Morsi protests in Cairo, and then the army took over the country and removed Morsi and his office from power, and Sisi took power, and then the new Egyptian government started to take control of the country. They designated the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization, and Sisi won presidential elections. And ever since the Egyptian revolution in 2011, there was a spike in the Egypt's GDP. There was a small drop in 2017, but that rose heavily during Sisi's rule. And the Egyptian revolution benefited Egypt in many ways. It showed to the Egyptians that they are powerful and that they can have democracy instead of having a president serving for 30 years and almost handing down succession of presidency to his son, and it restored democracy in Egypt. It also gave Egyptians a chance to be more involved in their government and to appoint their own leaders. It also showed several riggings and fixings in Egyptian elections in the past, and it all wouldn't have happened if Wael Ghonim hadn't created that page and spoke up for Khaled Said and used his voice and others' voices to disrupt what was going on in Egypt and try and fix it.